Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in the always sunny Mesa, Arizona, although I'll let you all in a little secret. It's cold outside, man. I'm in Wisconsin right now, and it's snowing. I'm looking out the window. I'm not a happy camper because this is not my jam. However, we still get to provide you with great content. We have an amazing topic today. What if you didn't have to pay your employees? Could you imagine 90 days of your employee for free? You don't pay those wages. And what if they threw in a toolkit? Unheard of. Unreal. Don't believe me? We're going to find out how. We've got Erin Albrecht with J&R Tile in San Antonio, who is using this program successfully to build her company. She turned our buddy Van Church onto it. He's now using it. He's not even in Texas. He's over in Utah. And so this is nationwide, folks. You can get an employee for free. Before we jump into all of that, Floor Academy Podcast is here to help you take yourself from owning a job to owning an asset. I want all of you to be successful business owners. And when I say business, a business should be something you can walk away from. There should be people that can keep it going while you're off in a tropical place having, Mai Tais on the beach. And this company keeps going and you're not getting phone calls. You're not getting emails. You just let it run. And then you get back in 2 weeks and you can jump right back in and everybody's happy. That's when you know you've got a business and not a job. If it requires you to be there and it can't function without you, you own a job. Let's not do that. So, Erin Albrecht, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Hey, back to the sponsors. Kyle actually introduced Van and I at his masterminds class. So anyway, those of y'all listening, there's a ton of value to it. We have a lot of different businesses, different sizes, different clearly national areas. And, geographically, we're all over the country. But totally worth it, not just for Van learning about the program we're going to talk about today, but the things that I get to learn from the members in my group to help my business. So big shout out to you, Kyle. You never shout out yourself, so we thought we'd do it real quick.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Erin, I'm Erin. I'm the owner of J&R Tile down here in San Antonio. We are a tile and stone contractor, specialize in commercial. We do residential also. We are traditionally, and most of our work is high-end commercial. And we are a 5-star contractor through the National Tile Contractors Association, meaning that we have certified tile installers and we meet other criteria. The reason I'm talking about that is it's going to have a lot to do with what we're talking about today and having a pathway for these entry-level skilled labor employees that you're going to be training to transition into the workforce and into your company. There needs to be some structure in place. So did I answer all the questions, Kyle?
I think so. And so we're going to jump into learning about this program, what it's actually called, where to find it in just a second. Van, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
I'm Van Church. I own Statement Hardwood Flooring here in Utah and the Salt Lake area. We do sand and refinish as well as installing engineered laminates and LVPs. For a lot of our stuff, we do commercial, residential, and we just really enjoy providing you good or better service than what's around us, and try to have everybody's home as it's our own. So just trying to give a little bit better service than what we may find or add to the quality of work that's here in the Valley.
Awesome. And so did you believe Erin when she told you she could get you an employee for free?
At first it was one of those sounds too good to be true type scenarios. And after looking into it and finding out more information through the program and what there is to offer through that program, once you get into it, there can almost be sky's the limit as far as possibilities to find new people to bring on board.
Was it hard to get into?
It was very simple with a phone call and a conversation.
Awesome. All right, Erin, we're going to jump back to you. So what is this program? Like, what's its official title other than like, hey, I get employees for free?
Sure. Okay. So this is where the money comes from, and this is the name of the program. So as everybody knows, there is a skilled labor shortage all over, but specifically in the flooring industry and in our trade. And the program is from the Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship, and it's called the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. And what this is federal funding for all 50 states in the United States, allocating funds for 18 to 24-year-old young men and women that fall under the classification of at risk. Now, at risk can mean many, many different things. It can mean not meeting standard on a standardized test in math in the third grade one time, right? Growing up with a single parent, growing up with grandparents, moving a certain number of times, economically disadvantaged, free and reduced lunch at any level when they were in the public school system, right? So the list goes on, a very long grocery list of what qualifies people for at risk. So the federal funding, WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, the intention of this was to solve the skilled labor shortage. You know, we hear a lot in this industry, you just can't find good help anymore. Well, I'm here to tell you, get in your ear a little bit and say, you know, you can be the solution to your own problem, because we're going to tell you how to do it. And Van and I have done it. And as you just heard from Dan, it's pretty simple. So the federal funding is allocated to all 50 states. Here in Texas, it's the Texas Workforce Commission. So that would be the state workforce agency. What's it called in your state, Van? What's your state level?
For ours, it's the OJT program.
But like your state, what's your state?
Utah State Unemployment.
Right.
Utah State. Yeah, it's just same as yours, but Utah State.
Right. So you could just a quick Google search and, you know, let's say Rhode Island, or Delaware, like what's the movie where they say Delaware? Like Delaware Workforce Commission or Delaware Labor Opportunity. If you just do a quick Google search and just put the word workforce after the state, it's going to pop up with whatever it's called in that particular state. And they're different everywhere. Here in Texas, it's Texas Workforce Commission. So the federal funding is allocated to the state level. And Texas is a big state, right? We have 254 counties that then that state level funding goes to. And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars going from the federal funding to the state level. This is going to be for all skilled trades. So being in the flooring industry, if you're listening to this, you need to understand, if you don't participate in this, someone else is going to use that funding, whether it be electricians, plumbers, other skilled trades, it doesn't matter, right? Carpenters, someone is going to use it. And why not teach the flooring industry about it? There's a lot of skills that need to be learned at an entry level, especially for an apprentice position, and, you know, trying to grow them into that next step. Our businesses are different, Van and I, but very much the same still. You know, you can hire someone that has experience that may not do things to particular standards or that fits your company's business model, or you can hire someone from this program, 18 to 24, with no experience, and groom them and properly train them within that 12 weeks of free funding. So how it works is they're actually not on your payroll, right? So
let me cut in real quick, okay? And then we'll jump back into it. So I know, so in my area, right, you have the Texas Workforce Commission, and Van, I forget what he said, but it's named something different. In Arizona, it's the Department of Economic Security. I think the easiest solution of where to start, if you're super, like, you have no idea, whatever place in your state handles unemployment, call them and start there.
That Department of Labor for your state. Absolutely. Yes. Exactly right.
Start with the place that deals with unemployment, because they're going to want to get people jobs, which means they're probably going to connect you very quickly to where you need to go to find this funding for your state. And then I think the other thing that you brought up that's super key here is you said at risk, and then you explained that like at risk can mean a ton of things. Look, they're not handing out like people that have committed violent, felonies and are, gang bangers on the weekends. Like, these are youth that had a troubled background. And like you said, it might be a single parent, it might be reduced lunch, it might be a failed standardized test. There's a lot of potential, let alone if you have, you talked about having to have systems and processes in place to grow your business, which is, that's why we're here for this show, right? And so if you have a place where these people can succeed, at risk doesn't mean anything, because you can change their life. And if you change their life and you mentor them correctly, which you should be doing, you should leave people better than you found them. How much loyalty can be built into that person and instilled so that they want to watch you and help you grow your business, especially when you're talking with them and sharing the vision with them. This is what we can create together. So there's a lot of potential here, folks. Like, don't be scared. Oh, it's the federal government money. So take it. They're handing it out. Okay. So that's the first thing. Exactly. You might, and that was the other thing, right? You were like, well, other trades are doing it. Why don't we? Yes. You're not finding help anywhere else. Okay. So this is a very good option for free money in order to help change somebody's life that could really use it. And I think a lot of us in this industry, whether you're the salty person that's been doing it 40 years and you absolutely hate it or not, it's provided for you for 40 years. If you can't see that being involved in this trade can change a life, you're very short-sighted. There is a ton of opportunity to help somebody build a successful career path. And I think we're doing each other a disservice by not encouraging others to join this. I hate it when I see tradesmen say, I never want my kids to do this. It's offensive to me. It's just, there is nothing wrong with making an honest living with your hands, and you can find people and grow them. And this is a great opportunity to do that. So that's what I wanted to add, but let's kind of get back into it. So you get them for 12 to 13 weeks, essentially 90 days, a quarter paid for. And there's other things that go with it.
So we have just, back to how it works simplistically. So you have your federal funding, right? Department of Labor. It's going down to the state level, Texas Workforce Commission to us. Then it goes down to the local level. For us, that's Alamo Workforce Solutions, right? Can't remember? Look behind me. See the Alamo? That's where I'm at. That's what they call it here. The county next to it, it's called, I don't know. You don't have to just work with your local Workforce Solutions office either. Something important to know is all the rural communities around San Antonio, we also have access to those Workforce Solutions office, which make great skilled trade contractors. A lot of these kids grow up taking shop classes, right? I learned how to weld. I'm from a small town. That's what I took for my high school electives. Not high schools in the big city don't really do that, right? But a lot of times the rural communities are really geared more toward skilled labor, working with their hands, things of that nature. So the 12-week program is, first of all, you have to have a plan, right? Cool, I get somebody for 12 weeks. Well, you probably need to work on training them within that 12 weeks, whether it be a hybrid of, hey, day one, we're going to do safety. However you want to do it with your business, it doesn't matter. They're going to support you, and that person is not going to be on your payroll. So Alamo Workforce Solutions locally is who distributes that check to that employee for that 12 weeks. Side note, if you go over 40 hours, which we have at JNR with our employees, you have to pay the whatever over 40 hours is to that employee, if they're on a certain project or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So they cover 40 hours for 12 weeks. Van, I don't know if you've gone over 40, but I know we had a few times for out-of-town projects with some in this program. Also, before anyone even starts, you get a tool package. So all you have to do is create a list, whatever your trade may be, of the essential hand tools or tools needed to perform and be trained to do these installations. So you're not out of pocket, right? I'm talking PPE, hand cutters, half-inch mixing drill, the paddle, rolling tool cart, like the whole enchilada. These kids come in, I mean, ready to go. And you're not out anything, out of pocket for your business. So the potential, and the way I see it, is especially the owner operator that we traditionally see that's trying to grow their business and like, what's the next step? I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for them to grow their business one person at a time and not feel that financial impact and take away from those projects while they're performing the work.
What's the tool allowance, Erin? There's a number on it, roughly, give or take, right?
Do you remember what it was, Allie?
8? Was it 8?
I want to say $1,500, but I also know the hand cutters we got were pretty expensive, so I'm thinking it's higher than that.
Okay.
I don't know why that number's popping. I think it's $1,500, but all you have to do is make a list of the products that you need and where you're going to get them from. Like, I put links next to them. You can just take an hour internet shopping, create a list off the top of your head, and say, hey, this is what this is what people coming in are going to need to be successful for me to train them throughout this process, and the state covers it. Whatever you want, whatever tool, there's no limitations to it.
And if they do not work out, what happens with the tools?
Mama Erin keeps them, and the JNR team uses them.
And there you go.
It's like boot camp. We treat it like boot camp. Literally, we have different colored T-shirts. Everybody comes into JNR Tile probationary, 12 weeks, whether you're in the workforce program or not. Everybody's probationary. At the end of that 12 weeks, if you make it through boot camp, you get a different color shirt. We give them blue shirts. They're more excited about getting that damn blue shirt than a raise, I promise you, because they are so tired of wearing the gray, crappy, not soft ones. Like, we make it a big deal to get past that next step. And a clothing allowance. That's also something that you can throw in to that tool allowance. They provide, knee pads, whatever might be needed.
One thing about that for Utah is Utah will pay the tools, but those tools belong to that employee. The employer doesn't need to keep them.
Okay. I mean, not the end of the world, right? Like,
get another one, get another tool set.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
rinse,
but
wash, repeat until it works.
Yep.
Just that one small difference between Texas and here.
Look, but you're still not out the money, right? Like, that's the
Right.
great part of this is you can have somebody come in, they're going to get knee pads, uniform, basic hand tools for free. And I've had my bucket jacked out of my truck before, my 5-gallon bucket filled with tools. I could not believe it cost me over $1,000 to fill up a 5-gallon bucket again. So it goes fast. And you don't remember how much things cost until you have to purchase them all over again. So this is a great deal in order to onboard somebody and put them on a 90-day probationary period. I think that's the other key here is it's a 90-day probationary period. So if they don't work out, if they don't work out in 90 days, though, you're not out anything. And
that's right. And you can terminate that employment.
One.
You can terminate their employment if it's not working out for any time. Something I didn't mention, and Van, I'm not sure if it's the same in Utah, but each individual that you onboard actually has a case manager. And something else that they provide, let's say that someone did not have transportation, the state, the government, down to the local level, Alamo Workforce Solutions here offers them fuel cards, bus passes, whatever it takes to get them to work. Right? Because we're dealing with unemployed people seeking employment. So this federal funding, the intention is give them the training, give them the tools so they will no longer be unemployed. They can sustainably learn and pick up a trade or skill with the things that they need to get out of that unemployment column.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I think it's a great way it's giving us a leg up, but you're giving the people you're hiring a leg up. We're disadvantaged almost as small business owners in the trades. It's very hard for us to learn how to run the business side of things and grow because we just don't have the funding and the team to have an HR department and somebody to build out a training program and all these things. And so being able to get access to ease some of that pain,
And
it's no
Kyle,
brainer.
something else I didn't mention. Right now we're focusing on people in the field, right, working with their tools, skilled trade flooring install. Something I didn't mention is you can also allocate that individual in your business in whatever capacity that you need. If you need someone just to answer the phone and be an administrative assistant or an apprentice office manager, whatever you want in that 3 months of training, that role to turn into that helps your business, that's what you can hire for. So Allie, before we've had administrative assistants come in through the program who worked their way up to project coordinators. I lost her. She's in the Marine Corps. She's totally amazing. I'm going to hire her when she gets out. She was pretty much running the company at 18 years old, right? This kid was amazing. Yeah, Emily. And Emily, if you're out there, we love you. Come home. So, the individuals are just gritty. They have that grit, that chip on their shoulder. Give me a shot in our experience, and let me see what I can do to help you because you believe in me, just like you mentioned earlier, Kyle.
Yeah.
So you can integrate them in whatever capacity you want: sales, office, flooring distributors and sales. You don't even have to be a contractor. It could be someone that's working into a sales position at a Dow Tile, right? It could be, actually, no, it has to be a small business. There's some parameters there, but mom and pop shop, it doesn't have to be skilled trade on the ground. But we all know that's the biggest hurdle in the industry, right? Is growing your business with the skilled labor in the field.
Well, that gives me a great idea. So a lot of these young kids, everyone says they don't want to work, right? They want to become YouTube stars, right? They want to be influencers. So if that's true, maybe getting one of them for 90 days to grow the social media of your brand and let them be the influencer for your brand. I don't know, that might turn into something, right? Like they get 40 hours a week, 90 and 12, 13 weeks to do this. What could you do in 3 months if somebody worked on that 40 hours a week for you? So there's an idea, right? If we can take multiple people, you might be able to develop something out of that.
And quick update, I was wrong. Allie just brought me our list for the apprentice starter kit. That's what we call it. Basic Skills Apprentice Starter Kit. It's $2,300 is what we came up with.
That's a lot of money.
Way up.
That's a decent chunk of change.
We have Grabos in there. We have a set of Grabos in there. I mean, we do large format tile.
It's amazing. So let's Van, let's jump over to you here for a minute, right? So Erin introduced you to the program once you guys met in the mastermind group, which, again, Erin, thank you for shouting that out. If anyone's interested, please reach out.
You want to learn how to do the program, join the group. That's the easiest way.
If you're interested in changing your business, you want some accountability to grow it, reach out to me. I can explain the mastermind groups to you. I am going to be looking to put another one together soon. So if you want to know more, just reach out. But Van, you've learned a little bit. You went, you got it. Once again, you said you made a phone call, had a couple conversations, and you got a guy. So let's kind of hear what it looked like to make that happen, how it's worked out for you. And, I just want to kind of go through your journey here since this is your first time through it.
Yeah. So we had a hard time finding people wanted to try out this trade and actually get into it. So after joining the group and hearing about this program, I went to I just found what office I needed to go to, made a phone call, went down, talked to the person over the program, and just went down and explained what I did, what I needed, and just gave her kind of a business overview of what we do and what I needed. and she gave me some options of where they could pull people from. And one of them was first the youth program, which is an 18 to 24. So that one, we got we found somebody through that program and ran them through that program first, and we got 100% of the wages covered. A little bit different process. We had to put them on payroll, and then they send us reimbursement for that employee for the hours worked. And like Erin said, anything over that 40 goes back onto the company for that overtime. They schedule out the 40 hours to cover that pay. That program, once it ended, we were able to then roll that same person into another program that is called on-job training for OJT training. And that program runs 24 to all the way up to wherever a person still wants to work. And on that program, this employee now gets half of their wages covered for 6 months. So now we're into this program, and we're just experiencing that it takes care of that first initial cost of losing money on somebody, bringing them on, training them, getting them up to speed, so then you can start making a better profit with that employee and not having to take that huge hit at first. Your work's going to slow down still, but you don't have the hardship of the finances going towards that slower work.
Okay. No, I think that's great, man. It's amazing that there's an extended program within Utah, right? So they ease you into having to take on this employee. And if you can't find a way for someone to be profitable for you in 6 months, you probably should have known that they weren't going to work out after the first 90 days. And then at the end of 60 days or 180 days, right, you've had them half a year. I think we got to look at your training program here if they're not being successful in making you money, right? If you can't take the labor burden on of somebody after you've had them for 6 months, there's probably a problem with your training processes, or you should have realized sooner to let the person go. But that's absolutely amazing that in 6 months, let's see, you get 3 months for free, and then you're going to get you're getting 4.5 out of 6 months totally free. That's absurd.
Yeah. What's amazing is Van is teaching me more about the program that I initially turned him on to, right? Mm-hmm. Like Van is schooling me now, and I'm starting to realize there's programs out there that we're not using that I got to dig back into.
Yeah, because even still there's the other programs that I haven't even tapped into yet. There's one for military, people coming out of the military that are going to be looking for work. They're transitioning out of that role of their service, so they need good places to go work. So awesome place to check into the military. They're already used to long hours, hard work, so they're going to fit on these roles. Show up on time. They're going to fit into these labor roles really well because that's what they're used to. Mm-hmm. They want to still continue something, and as far as I know, there's some of them that come out without a plan that get kind of lost. So it's awesome that there's a program there for them that if they know about it, they can reach out, use it, and then transition into their next role in life. There's also the low-risk prison stuff. People coming out of jail, prison. Obviously, there's a little bit of a area that you kind of want to watch for, that you don't want to get somebody that's at high risk but maybe a lower risk due to for residential side of things. We're in homeowners' houses. We want to make sure that homeowners are safe. We aren't going to have to worry about anything bringing somebody into those homes that we're going to have to worry about. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then we've also got the homeless and the refugees that are also in some of these programs that are trying to better their lives and move on. And there's also tax incentives for hiring homeless and refugees.
I believe it. I understand that it may be difficult to try and employ somebody that doesn't speak English, right? If there's a refugee that comes and they haven't learned English yet, right? And I know that's a huge deterrent for a lot of people hiring Hispanic people, right? They only
Google Translate. That's weak.
Well, okay. So yes, there's options, Erin, and I want to talk about that, right? Like, I get it. Like, if you can't communicate with my client, this is where I'm at on it, right? If you can't communicate with my client, I can't leave you from the residential aspect, right? If you're not able to communicate, I can't leave you on the job site alone. That's not very helpful to me. So would it be in my best interest to maybe be able to learn something and pick up a little Spanish? Probably. I'll admit it, I've been too lazy, and I didn't do well in high school when I took 2 years. I barely made it through with C's. So I get the hesitancy, but what if you were able to get one of these at-risk youth or a homeless or refugee person or something, right? Let's say they're Hispanic speaking. So now we can have them paid for free while we're training them, right? Like, look, it's not, I understand you need to be able to communicate, but I guarantee you that you can find a way to communicate how to do a skilled trade without actually speaking the language. Guarantee it. But what you can do after that is say, you know what, on Thursdays, I found you an ESL class. It's down here at the local community college. It's free. Maybe there's not a free one in your area. How much is it going to cost you to hire somebody to come in and teach this person an hour or two of English a week? Give them the skills, people. Erin, you're muted.
There's programs for that too, Kyle. You're not out of pocket for that either. At least at Alamo Workforce Solutions, your employees, even if they're coming from Alamo Workforce Solutions and not on your payroll, get $1,500 a semester if you have less than 100 employees. And I'm pretty sure that's applicable to most businesses across the country too. So that's something else to look into. And you're right. It's free. It's not going to cost $1,500 for an ESL class, right? You can take it personally, or you can send your employees, or both.
Correct. What would that do for the culture, right? You're going to go with them, right? They know you, they're comfortable with you. You're putting them in a very uncomfortable situation. So what would it look like for you to go with for the first month of classes or something? Look, I like looking at all this stuff from outside of the normal perspective. Okay. I wasn't raised in this industry, and so I come in with a lot of crazy ideas, and then I'm able to say them here. And if somebody takes them and runs with them, awesome. It's what's worked for the flooring industry for the last 100 years isn't going to work anymore. Things have changed. We've evolved. And sadly, the way this industry functions has not. So there's programs out there. There's resources. And so when people say that this new generation's lazy or they don't want to work with them, it irks me, because it's not true. There's tons of options to find people. You just don't want to do the work to get them. You're happier working by yourself, and that's not going to work. So if you enjoy what you do, if you truly enjoy this craft, if you don't help solve the installation crisis and help train the next generation of installers, the manufacturers will make products that don't require you. And we will not have any jobs left. The manufacturers make way too much money making product. They will build something that's even easier than click-lock flooring. Except for tile and stone. We all know that. You could, you know what I'm saying is true.
Hashtag why tile. Never going to happen.
Look, there will always be some high-end something or other, right? There will always be a better option, but could they find a way to make some kind of like click together floating stone system? Probably, if they wanted to. And homeowners could just put it.
Tile had a click lock porcelain. Yeah, it didn't work.
Correct.
They're trying.
Exactly, because they know that there's a shortage, right? If we can make it easier to get this in, we don't need the skilled tradespeople because we don't have them. The manufacturers aren't going to go out of business because we can't install something. They'll solve their own problem to keep making money. We have a problem to solve. We better solve it.
They're already trying to. They're throwing money at it from corporations, right? The government's throwing money at it federally. We're talking about that today. The stakeholders in the industry are throwing money at it to solve the problem. Why not use what's out there and that funding, be educated about it, and grow your business? Or at least be profitable with a free employee for 12 weeks.
Look, it ain't going to hurt. and maybe you find a diamond in the rough. So let me.
We did.
You've got a couple at this point, I got to assume.
That's right.
So, all right, we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna interrupt us for 1 minute with a quick word from Johns Manville. Not all foam boards have the high performance that GoBoard does. Johns Manville has been producing rigid foam boards for decades for commercial roofs. What does this mean for flooring and shower applications if they aren't exposed to the same harsh elements that a roof is? If it's good enough for a commercial roof, then it's even better for your flooring, countertop, or shower project, especially at a reasonable price. Visit www.jm.com/GoBoard for more information. So Van, I want to hear about your experience, and then Erin will get into your experience. So Van, you've had a guy for, I don't know, it's like 4.5, 5 months now, I think.
Yeah, we're getting up there.
So what has that been like?
A lot of it is, I mean, you have your frustrations. There's, when people want to have the desire and want to do something, then their desire is a little more that they want to work. And sometimes you find individuals that they want to work, but they don't have the drive. They just want the paycheck behind the job, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's been some frustrations as far as getting newer people into the workforce that haven't experienced work before or haven't had good past work experiences, so they're just kind of there for a paycheck. And right now I have somebody that is more geared towards a paycheck than they are the work. They do fantastic work when they have the task and it's in front of them and it's staying on task and doing the work, and things turn out fantastic. There's other times where, and it's with any employee really, that we have our off days and things just don't go as planned, and we just have that off day. But as far as the program itself, it does deliver the potential for awesome employees that are going to grow with you and will stick around. And then it has others that it's a good stepping point for them to learn some of those skills and see what the workforce is really going to be like as they're getting into the experiences. And that's, I think, where I'm kind of at with where I am at this point with my program is I'm still at the learning stage on finding what works, what kind of people are going to work, and how to best help them through the situation, because it's, like you say, you don't know what their past was, but even it being an at-risk, you're still giving them some type of direction, and you're still able to build your business to where you'll know how to take on the next person and what things to watch for to help either that person grow into your business or help them get at least some skills that may help them on at a different career path or different job down the road.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I have some, Erin and I both have this inside information on this, and I want to be fully transparent in the podcast, right? Let's be honest with people. And so most likely within the next couple of weeks, the gentleman that you're employing will no longer be employed by Statement Hardwood Flooring. It hasn't really worked out. Within that, though, you've given them tons of opportunity. You've tried to give disciplinary actions and encourage changes to be more successful for you and themselves. But I believe this is also really like the first time you've hired outside of people you knew, because you do have your brother Chase working for you, and that's been really successful. So I think as much as it's been a learning opportunity for the gentleman you hired, this has been a huge opportunity for you to learn how to build out a training system and implement it to be successful. And it wasn't costing you money. You were able to do it on somebody else's dime for the most part, which I think is also very, that's great, right? You're able to have trial and error, and I don't want to say it's at the expense of somebody else, because it's not. Like I said, I know you've been providing them a great opportunity.
Well, it's the expense of it. I wouldn't really look at it as the cost of money as it is the cost of time, because you can't get time back.
But you've implemented process and procedures that have helped your company, so there is not a loss, right? Like you've just gotten better at everything.
So with that time that was spent during this, I think that's the best takeaway, is that, yes, the financials of it didn't hinder me, but the time that has been spent has been a lot better time spent, because I've been able to improve my training program, improve my even my employee handbook, my processes and procedures. So there's been a lot more of the time side that has been improved on, so that the next time I'm not having to re-spend that time into making things better as far as processes, procedures, a handbook, the training, because I've already taken that with this first one. So now I can just improve moving forward to make it better for the next one, to where I'm not having to donate as much time into that process.
Look, these are the key things that I heard Van just say, right? And these are things that have been talked about on the podcast before. Employee handbook. He's able to hold people accountable. Now, I'll tell you what, by being in the mastermind group, like, and I'm not even trying to plug this. This just so happens that they're both in there, right? Like, I would love to plug it. Come learn more. But Erin shared her employee handbook. Van updated it, changed some of the stuff for his company, and he even made his employees go over it and list things that they thought should be included. And so it was their idea. And I'll tell you what, he didn't even realize what he was doing at the time, but just through studying some basic psychology, I was like, oh man, you're way smarter than you think, Van. If you ask a child to come up with a punishment for themselves, it will always be harsher than what you would have doled out. You will always be harder on yourself than anything. And so he tricked his employees into coming up with a harsher set of rules for the employee handbook than he would have created on them. And once they learned that that's what happened, oh man, they weren't happy, but they understood what happened, and they were like, oh, but now they set the standard. They set the standard of how they have to act in someone's home and for the company. And
happy accident, Dan. That was brilliant.
Yes, it was. It was amazing. I was so proud of you. I was like, oh, this is not going to end well in their favor. But these little things, right? Having the employee handbook, having a training system. I hear all the time, well, I just hire somebody and I send them off in the corner to sweep. No. How do you progress? How do you advance? How do you get a raise? What's the next level? How do I get somewhere? All of these things are going to help you retain people. You wonder why you can't keep employees and they want to run off and, after 6 months and become a setter themselves, or, they think they can sand wood floors, whatever it is. It's because they don't know where they're going and how they're going to get there. So you have to have these little things, right? This is what's going to make you a business. If I go get hired, I worked at Target, I worked at UPS, I worked for the UPS store. I worked for a place called Granger that sells like industrial supplies. All of these companies had onboarding processes. There was computer training. There was time with trainers to teach me the skills. And then I was told, if you can meet these skills, we can move you to this position. And when you meet these skills, you can move to this position. If you're able to finish your work in this amount of time, we will let you come up to the counter and start learning how to service the counter customers, right? You got to get all your work done. And if you have spare time, you can come learn this extra skill and become more valuable to us, and then we can move you in position. And I don't see that with small mom and pop, owner operator companies. It's, you're in my way, move. I'm just going to do it myself. Here's the trowel, go get it, right? You're yelling at kids to go get you a saw out of the trailer. They don't even know what the saw is. No one ever taught them. And then you get mad when they bring you a trowel. Man, they don't even know. You got to teach them. They're little babies. Stop being assholes. Stop.
I know.
Stop. I'm going to go get the board stretcher out of the trailer.
See,
Yes.
yes.
That's where some of sarcastics come from some of this because they bring you something that you don't ask for, so then you just tell them something that is way out there, and it's wasting time, and
it's arrogance.
Really
it's arrogance and ego, right? You should, if you're showing up here, you should know. No, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We call a margin trowel like 5 different things, and an angle grinder has 3 different names. Like, yes, it's confusing. Everybody calls it something different. Like, you've got to teach them what different people call, this is an angle grinder. It's also a Makita, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to teach these people the lingo, the language, the acronyms, all of it.
Correct.
And it's all part of that training that has kind of that's been missing from a lot of the, as far as I've experienced, the flooring contractors and things that I've been around and experienced. If you don't know what you're going to grab or something because you haven't been trained on what to know to grab, then they kind of throw stuff at you that doesn't really even exist just because they need you out of the way.
Correct. And that's not a good opportunity. And then there's the other fact that you tell them to go to your truck or trailer and it's not organized and they got to dig through it. Come on, man. Like, let's run a clean operation, okay? If everything's in its place and there's a place for everything, we're going to be more efficient. Getting back on topic a little bit, we're veering off, but it's so Van, like I said, being transparent, this guy's probably not going to work out long term. But does that turn you off from the opportunity this program presented to you?
No, it won't turn me off. It just gives me a better understanding of what to watch for moving forward, so that I'm not giving out as many crutches and letting it just prolong itself and just having a body to have a body. It things need to click for them. They need to click for us. And you need to have that. You need to have people that want to set themselves up for success as well as you up for success. And I think by going through this the first time, I did set up a little more of a crutch for me because I liked having the additional help and didn't want to move through it so fast. But at the same time, it also is slowing me down because they want to do their thing and kind of just be there, but they don't really want the same path that we're going towards. So it's hard to keep moving forward with somebody that doesn't have that same vision that you have and want to grow and move forward. And even in the group, we've talked about wanting something for somebody so bad that you just kind of keep giving them chances and chances. And I think that's a little crippling because you want it so bad for somebody and they just don't want it for themselves.
That's exactly it. Is Erin likes to call it Captain Save-A-Ho. And that's that. Look,
John, are you listening?
I was that guy. Look, go join Flooring Installers of America. And the group on Facebook, go join Flooring Installers of America if you're not a part of it. Search my name and search Brad. And you will see an epically long tale of how bad I wanted this kid to succeed for me. And I just kept saying, oh, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. It was never going to work out. And I probably knew that after like 6 weeks. And yet I wanted it so bad because it meant so much to me and what my company could do. That it was, well, I can overlook that. I can overlook that. This is getting better. I can overlook that. Didn't work. 9 months. How many more 6-week opportunities did I have within that 9 months?
Because you thought like an individual and not like a business with policy and procedures. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's why Captain Save-A-Ho even comes out. It's right here in the feelers, right?
Yes.
The tiny violin.
Because look, we want to feel good, right? We want to help people. Like once again, I can't say enough about what this industry has done for me in the 7.5 years I've been a part of it. It has changed my life, and it did it very quickly. And like, I want to give back. I want to give people that opportunity. but you can't get held up when somebody doesn't want to receive what you're offering them. You got to let it go. It doesn't matter how good you want to feel. Find somebody else that actually wants it. So that being said, go ahead, Van.
It's one of those things too that you can kind of see in how an individual is going to react and how they're going to grow, because like we all do, we all geek out over our floors, our tiles, our laminate, whatever type of flooring we do. We can sit and talk to each other about tools, procedures, ways that we do it, everything. And you almost want to find those same people that you're hiring on that have that same desire to geek out over the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes the work atmosphere a little more fun, and that person is going to involve themselves and get it right in there with you because they're geeking out over the same thing.
I think if I take the installation side of what I'm doing back up and it gets to the point where I need to hire somebody, I will hire fast, I will fire fast. And I think what I've learned I want to find is I was always the guy that got in the truck at the end of the day and I kept asking questions. I wouldn't shut up. And then I was going home and I was looking and researching things. I want that person. Don't care if it's a guy. Don't care if it's a girl. Correct. Go back. If you want to find somebody with that mindset, go listen to the interview, the mock employee interview with Erin. She has an amazing interview process that her and Trinity go through to help identify people that have that growth mindset and want to learn, want to continue to be engaged. But that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the person that won't leave you alone at the end of the day. They're standing there watching you and they're asking questions. Why'd you do it this way? Why'd you do that? I probably, look, I'm not going to be a tile installer, but I didn't really feel like doing anything as 2022 closed out. My buddy Russ had a large tile installation come up. And I don't like using the word helper. I would prefer the people have apprentices, but I went and played helper for Russ for 8 days because that's really what I was doing, right? Like I knew enough about tile to be dangerous, but I went and helped him. But I'm curious enough that I was still sitting there and asking questions. Why are you doing that? How do we do this? I want to know just because I'm curious and interested. And now I have an even greater knowledge, and I probably annoyed the piss out of him with all the questions. But it worked out. It was successful, and he got extra work done for 8 days. So it was win-win for both of us. Erin, you've hired a bunch of people through this workforce initiative program. Was that it? What is it?
Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act.
There we go. Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. So you've been through a bunch. You've had success. You've had failures. You've probably how J&R even handles it has probably changed. So give me like a summary of failures, successes, and even how you've changed just how you interact with the program and use it to your advantage.
So just like Van was mentioning about his business, J&R has tried diligently to constantly improve when we see something wrong. And I think most businesses focus on their weaknesses, right? So, you had mentioned employee retention and engagement. How do you keep them actively engaged after onboarding, right? Well, that's a whole freaking other podcast. We're not going down that road. These two both know I can go on about that for an hour. I'm super dorky. There's data, backing up the profitability and employee engagement. Mm-hmm. And you can measure how engaged your employees are by a quick 12-question quiz. Again, join the mastermind group. I'm not talking about it right now. My point is, what Kyle had mentioned earlier and what Van was, bringing up is that career pathway, that ladder, right? We're talking about 18 to 24-year-olds on the particular program I had mentioned, and Van is the man. He's got several others that I need to do my homework on, but when you're talking about 18 to 24-year-olds, they're used to what's the next step? What's the next level, right? So our 12-week boot camp, if you will, that training period where we talked about the T-shirts and whatnot and getting that next step up, that would be considered our pre-apprenticeship. And we use NTCA University And we do things a little different at JNR, but we use NTCA University and their curriculum online for our apprenticeship. So there is the book study, if you will, and then the hands-on component every day in the field. So we have a hybrid of those in our apprenticeship. So after pre-apprentice, right, we're using this workforce program. We've got the tools, they've got the training, they made it, right? We didn't can them. They made it through boot camp. They get promoted to apprentice 1. Of course, with every promotion should come a consequential dollar amount raise. Could be 50 cents, doesn't matter, as long as they are seeing what's the next step, right? People at JNR don't ask for a raise because they know exactly what to do to get it. It's all based on your steps and where you are in your career pathway. So it's pre-apprentice, apprentice 1, apprentice 2, apprentice 3, apprentice 4. Those are both structured with curriculum from NTCA University that we focus on. The certified tile installer in the field, certifying that the curriculum book study, if you will, which is online, right? It's not a book, but the studying part, the technical part, is aligning with the hands-on component, right? Like, yes, they are meeting our requirements for installation on this thing. Check. So a matrix, if you will. Our success with this particular program that we're talking about today I have two, JNR, I'm very proud to say, has 2 employees that have worked their way from pre-apprenticeship all the way to junior installer. So they've made it all the way through pre-apprenticeship, apprentice 1, 2, 3, 4. And to be honest with you guys, these young men have made themselves so valuable, trustworthy, and indispensable that we can now have them go out. And I have some next week. The shop's closed next week for Christmas, and they're going out and managing their own projects, patchwork, the more simplistic installations that we would do at JNR that I wouldn't have to send a highly skilled installer to. We allocate those to our junior installers, and we have 2 in that position right now that have not just made it through the pre-apprenticeship program. They have become extremely dependable, valuable employees at JNR. And we wouldn't be who we are today if we wouldn't have had that opportunity, because they're a huge part of our team, right? We wouldn't be the team we are today if we wouldn't have had the opportunity with this program to really dig in and formally train those individuals at the beginning through this program. So I think that's the biggest value, because it's typically rushed, right? Just like we were talking about, you'll figure it out on the job. There's no flashcards of what the hell a wet saw looks like. It's just, you have to foundationally, and what we do is the top 2 reasons for tile failure, right? Movement joints and mortar coverage. So we are constantly drilling about substrate flatness, because the floor's not flat, you're not getting the mortar coverage, right? Mortar coverage percentages and movement joint installation. So we just drill that in every day from the day they walk through the door, because if you can teach how to focus on the top 2 failures, you're going to know good and damn well they're never going to do them, because it's like tattooed in the back of their brain. Yeah. So I think having the time to have that foundational knowledge to these entry-level employees and a, structured foundational curriculum is really key to their success down the road, because they're professionals now. They walk around like little TCNA handbooks, they are pros. They are going to be taking their CTIs in February, which I am super excited about, because that means they've really made it through. That's a true success story.
That's awesome. So there's been, you have a couple success stories right now, and I can only imagine that, you've been doing it a while, so there's probably at least a couple of failures as well, but are they...
Oh yeah, let's talk about
so let's not call them failures though, right? Because they're probably not, right? It wasn't the right fit for JNR, and it wasn't the right fit for them. However, JNR probably learned something about how to mold the program to more effectively be implemented in the future.
And it's just comes down to making it measurable and getting weekly feedback. And that's, you guys know, right? We talk about our weekly feedback all the time, Kyle and Van, but that weekly feedback from your installation team and your leadership team in the field, or yourself, if you're just hiring, like put it on paper. It doesn't matter if you're an owner operator just starting out with the program. Ask for their feedback weekly, because that keeps them engaged. And you want to know what the hell's going on that they probably won't tell you verbally. And they can actually sit down and do it. We do it before you get paid. Like, that's the deal. You don't get a paycheck until you fill out your feedback form, right? We're not asking you to do it. We're telling you, you get paid to do this. Your voice is important. But at the same time, documenting their progress weekly, so you have feedback for their case manager or, whatever workforce solution office you're locally working with. And 2, something that you can sit down and say, you know what, Kyle, this really isn't working out. And let's sit down for a minute, and I'm going to tell you why. Over the past 3 weeks, these things continue to happen. And per J&R Tile policy, that's not going to work. You're hurting J&R Tile. It's not that I don't like you, Kyle. I think you're great. I like your haircut. The bangs are cute, right? The facial hair is great. But at J&R Tile, it's not going to work. So we need to know if you're on board or not. And those little conversations and doing it frequently and often, I think, is probably the most difficult or the most challenging thing that you can put into a structure and be consistent with it. Because we all know we move at light speed as contractors, right? You just have to be disciplined and do it. Yes. And that was really kind of trimming the fat on our entry level with this program in particular, getting those feedback from the installation teams, not just like, Erin, this is not going to work out. Okay, well, can you tell me about that? I need you to write it down, because we can't terminate somebody because you, give me specifics.
Bam.
And
yes,
you can give that feedback. Yep.
That's exactly it. Write it down, folks. This is my time at UPS being low-level management in charge of the people that load and unload the trailers. All those people are Teamsters. You can't fire a union employee without good documentation. And even then, you cannot believe what the union is able to get back in. Okay. So you have to document things, right? If you train somebody, document it. Have them sign off. You sign off. You punish somebody, right? You got to have a little talking with them. Write it down. They sign off. You sign off. Goes in the employee file. If you have to terminate that person, and you get a letter from the unemployment office at some point, man, you photocopy all that stuff. You scan it, whatever, email it off to them, and you say, here's why they got canned. I have 9 months worth of verbal warnings and probationary periods and all. You're not going to end up paying, right? It's for them. The employee knows that you're taking it seriously when you document it, and it protects you in the long run. The other thing you mentioned earlier, and my buddy Eduardo from Monday night's mastermind classes is listening, and so he's way smarter than he gives himself credit for too a lot of times. So you were talking about the guys wanting to level up. He's looking at trying to develop new systems for his company, and he's going to make it like a video game. All these kids are obsessed with video games. That's all they do. So why?
That's the ringer on my text message, right? Mario.
Correct.
Ate the much. Growing. Let's go, baby.
Why not find a way to structure how you move up in your company like a video game, right? Hey, you're level 1 right now. If you can learn X skills, man, I'll get you to level 2, and then I can get you to level 3, and then we can move you over to this dungeon over here, and you can fight the boss, right? Is the CTI test the boss? I don't know. Something is, right? Speak in their language.
You get a company truck and a credit card, you damn right. And then there's more after that. Give them something to look forward to. Otherwise, they're going to be that guy that's just picking up the paycheck every day. And guess what? That's your fault. That is your fault, and you need to take ownership for it. If people are disengaged, you're doing something wrong.
Yes, 1,000%. I think that's going to do it. I think we've covered it very, very well. Erin's so checked out, she's cleaning her glasses. You should see the video, folks. Go on YouTube, check out the video. She's over here. She's just cleaning up. She's disengaged from what we're doing here now.
She's out of coffee. She was looking for more.
No, they're scratched because my Shih Tzu ate them. She likes to chew on my glasses. And yes, I have a Shih Tzu. It's embarrassing.
All right, I'm kidding. I know you're not disengaged. Van, do you have anything you think maybe we missed or need to add or hit on?
I think everything was covered really well as far as program, what we can get from it, what we can learn from it. So
awesome.
I think it was very well covered.
Go make some calls, folks. I think that's your first step is picking up the phone while you're installing whatever it is you're installing. Get on hold with your local unemployment workforce, labor department, whoever it needs to be. Get on hold, do the government wait line thing, and start asking some questions, and then let's go get our employees. We will not solve the problems in this industry if we don't do the work. It's up to you. Okay, I don't want the manufacturers doing it because they got their own agenda, and I don't want the retailers doing it because they have their own agenda. I want installers doing it and installation companies doing it because we have, at the end of the day, our best interest at heart in order to keep the industry the way we want it. Now, that being said, it's not that we don't need to partner with retailers and manufacturers, but I don't want them setting the agenda. That's just how I feel about it, right? So I love that the Floor Covering Education Foundation exists. I love that Schluter brought me out and they're teaching business now, right? Schluter has the Mind Your Business class, and you can go learn basic business skills. I think it's absolutely amazing they're doing that. However, they have an agenda on their side of things. I want to make sure that we have installers putting installers first to keep what we want the way we want it and to grow our industry successfully and keep it moving forward in a positive direction. So you got to be the one to go fix it. And you've just been told how to get free people, and they're out there waiting for a phone call. They are waiting for their caseworker at that department to call them and say, I found something for you. They're going to be so excited to just have a job. Look, if it doesn't work out, it didn't cost you a dime. You got 90 days. What do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing except excuses. So I don't want to hear it. All right. I think that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Van, for joining us. Thank you for your insights on the program, how it's worked for you, where to find it, all that fun stuff. Super, super informative. If you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Floor Academy. You can donate $5 a month, $10 a month. Any little bit helps. You can check us out on YouTube. Find us on all of the major listening platforms. Just type in Floor Academy. If you want to learn how, I got some files over on the flooracademypod.com website to help you do business budgeting, employee calculators to figure out what you should be paying. There's the equipment tracker so that you can not have to worry if you ever have to file an insurance claim. There's a
interview questions.
There are interview questions over there. Yes, that is over there. And the last one is the profit calculator, the job costing worksheet. I got a job costing worksheet over there. So lots of fun goodies over there for free. Go put in your email and you'll get hooked up with them. Other than that, I think that'll do it for us this week. And I got one last little message. It's time to make your plans to travel to Las Vegas with me to hit the show floor at the International Surface event. Our sponsor, Tice, has provided me with an incredible offer for you listeners. You can now register for a free exhibition pass with the code KYLE. That's KYLE for those of you who don't know how to spell my name. Registration is open online at www.intlsurfaceevent.com/register. It's all happening in Las Vegas, the 31st of January through the 2nd of February, 2023. Go back and listen to the special episode from December, which will give you the inside scoop on what's happening at the event. I'll be there. I know Erin's going to be there. Van's coming. So there's plenty of fun people to come out and meet and get to know folks. And I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, Surfaces is for the retailers. They're doing a really nice job the past couple of years of making it more installer friendly, getting more content in the education seminars that's for installers and for sales. They've got the installer competition now. So we've got hardwood and carpet going on this year. So it's always fun to go see what those guys are putting down and the level of work they're doing. And why wouldn't you want to see the products that are coming out the next year and the new tools coming out, all that fun stuff? But for me, I want to know the products coming out. I want to know what I'm working with, especially if I was a subcontractor for a retailer. I'm going to go look at those products and I'm going to go try and influence the products they carry and say, I like this one. I like this one. This is garbage. This is garbage. This is garbage. Don't carry them. Because at the end of the day, if you got to warranty your work and take the liability of the install, do you want to pick the material? Or do you want them to pick the material? They're doing sales, folks. I'm doing installs. I want to pick my material because I know what I'm working with and I can tell the integrity and quality of things. They can't. They're using buzzwords. That's all I got for this week, everybody. We'll see you next time.